तो आज हम आ गए हैं एक हिस्ट्री का नया चैप्टर लेकर। ये हमारा इस चैनल पर फर्स्ट वीडियो होने वाला है, तो पूरा वीडियो देखिए, बहुत अच्छा एक्सप्लेनेशंस होने वाला है इस वीडियो का। चलिए शुरू करते हैं इस लेक्चर को। तो पहले हम इसको स्लाइड शो में चले जाते हैं। इसको स्लाइड शो में चले, तो जो हमारा ये चैप्टर है वो है फर्स्ट चैप्टर ऑफ हिस्ट्री एंड सिविक्स का क्लास 9 का। इसका नाम है आवर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। सो अब हम हिंदी में चले जाते हैं अब, ठीक है। हिंदी में जाकर हम इंग्लिश में बोलते हैं हम, ठीक है, इस लेक्चर को। तो द फर्स्ट चैप्टर ऑफ हिस्ट्री क्लास 9 is our constitution. So before we learn this chapter, we need to know about the origin of the constitution. Means why did the constitution had to come to existence. So first let's discuss about that one. After the independence in 1947, we all know that there was a great struggle for independence by the Indians. Of course, finally the India got independence in 1947. So, after the India got independence, there were no such rules and regulations. The British had gone from India. There were no one to object to anything of the people. So there was no particular rules and regulations of the country. So the rate of crimes and such other things had increased greatly. So there was a need of framing a body of rules which will control the citizens of India. Hence, the forefathers of our nation decided to frame the constitution. Forefathers of a nation mean the constituent assembly members and the other freedom fighters who were alive. They decided that they had to make a body of rules and regulations which would control the citizens. So the definition of constitution can be obtained from this. Constitution is the civic body which functions in organizing and setting up of the rules, rights, rules, rights and duties of the people of a state. This is not the definition. This is not definition. This is not the definition. Definition is this one. This one is definition. So, constitution is a set of rules and regulations according to which a state is governed. Now, how does the Constitution is just a simple book, right? You can see the first page of the Constitution, that we all know that it is the preamble. We have read in class 8 probably. So this is the preamble. This is the preamble. So this is the preamble. Let's read the preamble once. It's beautiful. The preamble is it's such patriotic that the sense of patriotism rises as we read the preamble. So what's written over here? Let's read it. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign democratic republic and to secure to all to its citizens justice, first is justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. So these four things the constituent assembly members or the freedom fighters wanted to happen. They wanted to happen. They wanted that this should happen, these things. But till today, it has not been possible to execute all of these things. Not been possible. So it is not possible. Means it has not been possible because in rural area, say for justice, till now nobody gets correct justice, means right justice. Nobody gets for truth. Liberty. What is liberty? Liberty is a freedom. Freedom of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. Till today, in some rural areas, people are not allowed to think freely. Okay, they're not allowed to express their emotions. They are bound to believe whatever their masters say. Not masters, anything. When women are not getting equal justice, equality, it's not a good situation now. Now comes equality. We all know that nobody is equal in this society. I don't have to say anything about it. And fraternity. This is the hardest term. So let's check once more. What is fraternity? This is the hardest term. Okay. So we can define fraternity as this: the spirit of brotherhood among the people of a nation. We can define fraternity as this thing. Okay. So fraternity is assuring the dignity of an individual and the unity of the nation. So we can understand it. This is also not possible. Fraternity has also been not possible. Okay. After that, in our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, this is very important. 26th November 1949. This is very important, very important. Okay. What happened? We will discuss it later. So first, let's do this one. Scott. So in our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949. Now you may ask that why is it written 1949 and November? 26th day of November 1959. Why is this November 1949? It is so because the Constitution was published on 26th November of 1949. Okay. It was enacted on 26th day of November 1949. So let's read further. Do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution. This we don't need to learn it, so just let's keep it. Now, the Constitution is a set of rules and regulations according to which a state is governed. So how can a state be governed by a book? It's not possible, right? It is not possible to govern a state by a book. So some people are kept who would govern the state according to the rules and laws written in the constitution. Today's constitution is not the same as the previous constitution. It's the same, but there has been several amendments in the constitution, and it has not remained the same. So the constitution is a book according to which the political leaders say constitution if we say it is a book, right? It's a book. Now the government, we all know what the government is. This government governs the country according to the constitution. Okay. The government governs the country. That means rules on the country, not rules. It checks on the country with the help of the constitution. Constitution is also known as the fundamental law of the land. Fundamental law of the land. This is the extremely important point. Fundamental law of the land. Why it is done so? So, fundamental law of the land. Let's give the heading. Fundamental of the land. So the fundamental land of the law. Fundamental law of the land. Now what is the meaning of fundamental law of the land? What is the meaning of fundamental? Fundamental means only. What is fundamental? Not governed by any other law. Okay? It is not governed by any other law. That means it is superior to all other laws. It is superior to all other laws, okay? So, the fundamental law of the land. Fundamental means superior. Law of the land means law of the country. That means the fundamental law of the land. The fundamental law of the land is superior. Is superior to all other laws. Other laws of the country. The fundamental law of the land, that means this is the constitution. Wait. So this is the constitution. This is superior to all other laws of the country. Now comes an important part. So let's go switch the slide. So this one, it is superior to the ordinary laws enforced by the state and the union legislature. By the state and the, so this state means country. Okay, this state means country, and this state means state. This is the state. That means the divisions under a country. When S is in capital letter, that means country. When S is in small letter, it is state. Now, what does the constitution do? What is the function of the constitution? So, it checks the form of the government. How a government is formed. How a government will be formed, or we can also say it as composition of the government. Composition of the government, okay? So it checks the form of the government and the powers to be exercised by the various organs of the government. Now, what will be the powers to be exercised by the various organs? So now, let's take slide. Say this is the government. There are three organs. Okay, there are three organs. The first is legislature. First is legislature. Second is the first is legislature. Third is judiciary. Third is judiciary. Second is executive. So first legislature, legislature makes the laws. Executive enforces the laws. And judiciary gives punishment who violate the laws. Judiciary part gives punishment to who violates the laws. So first let's start with the legislature. This constitutes of the parliament, the executive consists of the legislature, so first of all there is the union parliament, union legislature, and then under the union legislature there are several state legislatures. Okay, so first is the union legislature. Under the union legislature, there is the state legislature. So union legislature makes laws for the country. State legislature makes laws for the state. State legislature makes laws for the state. So this was the function of the union legislature and the state legislature. Now, there are several things which the state legislature performs, means several fields on which the state legislature makes laws, and some fields on which only the union legislature can make laws. So first, we will not talk about those fields. I will give you a list later. So first, let us talk about the different organs in brief. Then we will talk about then we again come back up to the chapter. So the second organ is the executive. Is the executive. It is the executive, second organ. Okay. So the executive contains the president also. Contains the president, the vice president, and the and different other executive officers. I will also give a list of this one also. So other executive officers. Now comes a very important part, which is the judiciary. They contain the IPS officers. We can say the chief judge, and police service. So we have read about the organs of the government. So the constitution determines the powers to be executed by the various organs of the government. What will be the powers of the which will be executed, so that the constitution knows, means the government knows that which of them are in their hands, and they can take action accordingly. And the very important part, very important part, the limitations on the powers. It cannot be that the government will exercise all the powers in their hands. Anything they can do. Not like that. So there has to be some limitations to the powers of the government. And then comes the people's rights and duties. So which the people can do, which the people should do. That means what are the fundamental rights of the people. That means which the people are allowed to do. Means they can, as the citizens of India, they should enjoy those privileges. That is people's rights. And duties, so we all know that the people should follow these things. Though they are non-justiciable, but they should be followed by the citizens of India. Now let's go to the next slide. Now comes a very important part: the adoption, enactment, and enforcement of the government constitution. So always it's coming government. The constituent, so there are different 4 points, so we have to learn these things. The Constituent Assembly had its first sitting on December 9, 1946. That is before, let me write and explain. First meeting, 9th December 1946. After that, this was the first sitting or the first meeting, whichever you want to say, you can say it. So the Constituent Assembly had its first sitting on December 9th, 1946. In this sitting only, Dr. Sachidananda Sinha was selected as the interim president. What is interim president? Interim president elected until is a temporary president, elected until a permanent president is elected. So this is the interim president. He is a temporary president who is elected until the permanent president is elected. Means, for example, that a team is formed, okay? A team is formed. Let's say a team of 4 members are formed. He is A, he is B, he is C, he is D. So there has to be a leader among them. There has to be a leader. Say this is a group for a group project. So this is a group for a project. So there has to be a leader for the group. A says he will be the leader. B says B will be the leader. C says C will be the leader. D says D will be the leader. Now, it will obviously take some time to select that who is most capable, is more capable. Who is more capable, we have to select that. Then only we can make someone president, right? Sorry. So A, B, C, D. We have to take time for recognizing them, that who is most capable of being the leader. So we see for few days, say for 2 days we see. Then we select C as the president, the leader. Okay. We select C as the leader. After some days, we see that A is more capable than C. Then A is selected as the leader. Over here, we can recognize C as the interim president or interim leader. Dr. Sachidananda Sinha was such a person. Sachidananda Sinha. He was selected as the interim president, and Dr. Rajendra Prasad was selected as the permanent president. The constitution was enacted and adopted by the assembly on 26th November 1949, which I have already discussed with you. It was enacted and adopted. That means it was published. In the sense, it is published on 26th November 1949. The constitution came into force. That means the people started following the constitution. People started following the constitution from 26th January 1950. And this was recognized as the, we all know, Republic Day. Clear to everyone? So the constitution came into force on 26th January 1950. Enacted and adopted means that the constitution was sent to the different states. Copies of the constitution was sent to the different states. On 26th November 1949. Now comes the next slide. Now 26th January. Why was it set as the Republic Day? But first let us read about the drafting committee. There were 8 major committees in the formation of the constitution. There were 8 major committees. Most important was the drafting committee. So what was the task of the drafting committee? They created a draft. Okay, a rough constitution, or they wrote the points. Points which needed to be included. Points which needed to be included in the constitution. So he means the drafting committee took points from the different constitutions and jotted them down. Like we do in the biology notes, they made notes of the different points which needed to be included in the constitution. Clear? Now the leader of the drafting committee was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, a very famous personality. We all know the name of B.R. Ambedkar. We must know. He was responsible for the drafting. And now we have to say, I will tell you one thing, that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was the not chairman, he was the cabinet minister. Sorry, cabinet spelling it became wrong. Cabinet minister of Sri Rajendra Prasad. That is our first president. He was the. This is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. This can come as picture study also, that who is this person, what was his duty, which committee did he belong to, what was the function of the committee. These questions can come in the ICSE board. Class 9. Sorry. Now comes the most important part of the chapter, that is, first then let us discuss about this. Why did we forget this one? So why was 26th January decided as the Republic Day? 26th January was a great significant day in the struggle for independence. 26th January had a great significance in the struggle of independence. We will read it. On 26th January 1930, the first Independence Day of India was celebrated by the INC. Okay? National Congress. It was celebrated by the National Congress of India. That time National Congress, not now. Indian National Congress. On 29th November 1929, the Congress had a session at Lahore. What was the session at Lahore? The session was, you can say that the session was a meeting. Session is a meeting among all the Congress members, party members, and they passed a resolution which declaring Purna Swaraj, that is complete independence, as their ultimate goal of India. 26th January was continued to be celebrated as the Independence Day from 1930 to 1947. So, this started only the Congress. We need to remember only the Congress. Had started celebrating Independence Day from 1930 to 1947 until the independence was achieved on 15th August 1947. Unless and until the independence was achieved on 15th August 1947, okay, the INC continued to celebrate the Independence Day from 1930. On 26th January 1930. On 26th January 1930, it was the first Independence Day of Congress, we should say. Now comes that now we can understand why it was a significant day for the Indian National Congress. So this thing, to see picture which we can see, this is the picture of the Indian National Congress session at Lahore. This one. This was the session which had occurred at Lahore. So 26 January was a very significant day. Hence, the Constituent Assembly members decided to enforce the Constitution on 26 January. So this was the reason. So I had made a something wrong over here. It will be Republic Day. Okay. So now let's go to the next slide. Now comes the salient features of the Constitution. So in the background we can see that there are several writings, like a flow chart it is written. So the ones which we have in the syllabus is the single citizenship, universal adult franchise, we have the principles for a welfare state, fundamental rights and duties. Then we have no, we don't have anything else. We also have another thing, directive, principles. And this also we can include. First, let's discuss about the universal adult franchise. So there is very brief explanations of these salient features. Not much of explanation is required. Some of them are very important, like universal adult franchise. Now let me write and explain to you first. So universal adult franchise, it is not only for India but for all the countries. It's for all the countries. There is a universal adult franchise. What is the universal adult franchise? This is the age. Means the statement is that all citizens of 18 years of age or above are allowed to vote. Is it the statement? Yes, this is the statement. For universal adult franchise, this is the statement. And for universal adult franchise of India, if we say, it is all citizens of 18 years of age or above and are citizens of India and is not disqualified under any law. So this is the definition of universal adult franchise in India. So if you are a citizen of India, you are 18 years of age or above 18 years of age, which we not are, or which you not are. If you are 18 years of age or above, then you can be a citizen of a registered voter. And if you are not disqualified, is not disqualified under any law. Is not disqualified under any law. This is for, means that not disqualified under any law. This is for all the countries only, but it is more, it can be included in the definition for India. Let's read it. All Indian citizens who are 18 years of age and above and is not subjected to disqualification under any law. So what is under any law? It can be state and it can be union also. You have to be valid under both these laws. to be a registered voter. If you are disqualified under any law, then you cannot vote. Over here we can read this out. While women in countries like Britain had to fight for their voting rights and get it in 1930s, the Congress Party pushed for voting rights for all citizens from the very first general elections. So this says that India was such a liberal country, sarcastically of course, that it gave voting rights to women from the first general elections, which was in 1951. Or 1950 only, I think so. We have to check it. We will see that in the next chapter. It's actually in, I think, yeah, it's in 1952. Okay. In 1952, the adult franchise age was 21 years. In 1989, I suppose that in 1989, the voting age was lowered from 18 to 21 years to 18. Now they had a statement also for it, or justification you can say. The justification was actually the justification, we can say that the lowering of voting age or enfranchisement, let us not write this one, keep, of course, the lowering of the or the, we can write enfranchisement of the youth will lead to the not will lead, shall make them more sensible, more creative. So this was the statement. This. Okay. So you can check it out.